Hi guys, welcome to Tarot in the Dark. My name is Tori. Tonight we are going to get some ancestor messages, okay? Before I start the reading, I want to just give some channeled messages that were coming through. They were speaking to me a lot about cleansing, about purification. They were showing a scene of like someone standing outside of a say like a 5-story building. You're on the 5th floor and you're looking out of the window. There's a huge window and it's like you can see things coming towards you. Imagine cars driving towards you, right? Towards the building that you're standing in on the 5th floor. And as those cars drive towards you, you're starting to receive things. However, there's something larger, a bigger, more like a greater wish, I guess you could say. And they're saying that you can see this, you can sense it, you can feel it, but it hasn't actually arrived yet. It's almost like you're receiving the gifts for a baby shower without the actual baby, right? So like the baby is the gift, but you receive gifts prior to at a baby shower, and it's that type of energy. But there's something interesting that they were telling me earlier, and I'm assuming that just like always, they'll show us what that means in the reading. They said there's a difference between loving yourself and being loved by yourself. There's something about the depths of the love that you give to yourself, which is different than loving on yourself. Okay, so there's something in that they want to speak to for sure, because they keep telling me that. They also were showing me the Queen of Cups and the Empress. They're also showing me a ton of like healing energy. Like I'm seeing Archangel Raphael in my mind's eye. Oh, he's, you know what, guys? Oh my God, I just looked over. Look, he's at the bottom of the deck here. He's at the bottom of the deck here. And then look, Archangel Michael is at the bottom underneath him. So there's definitely this energy here. See, Michael helps to be able to cleanse out the energy in order for new. Michael makes way. Michael is almost to me like the warrior of the archangels. And he's the one who kind of comes in, and he's got a very demanding presence, yet he's very gentle, very much like a gentleman. And so you could have noticed recently that you have some energies coming up in regards to things that still need to be released. I kept hearing the word transitional phase, or the words transitional phase, almost as if this is a period of transition where things will I don't want to say begin to shift, because the reality of it is, I don't know why I'm holding that card, guys, sorry, but the reality of it is we've already shifted into a new timeline. But there's something very interesting about this shift. It's almost like half of your body is there and the other half is in the old. It's very interesting. I don't know how to explain it. I can energetically feel these things. I think this aligns with astrology, but I'm not sure, because you guys always hear me say I'm not an astrologer. I really don't have too much of a clue about astrology. I wish I could learn more, but I am making my way towards collecting as much info as my little brain can contain. But there's something for sure about being in this transitional phase where there's a complete release. I heard surrender, a complete surrender of the old, and an adaptation into the new. That's awesome. And it feels very it's interesting. They're showing me someone who's gone whitewater rafting. I don't know if you guys have ever gone whitewater rafting, but it's, for me, was one of the scariest things I ever did in my life. And there are moments of it where it's very tranquil and very peaceful, calm. The waters are just so peaceful and relaxing, and you can have moments where you're just sitting underneath the shade trees and you just feel so relaxed and calm, and then moments later you're like boom 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 boom, and it's like chaos all around, and you're hoping that you can survive and not die. out of the water. That was me for sure. Like, please just don't let me die in here. And then again, there were other moments where it was very peaceful. So this transitional phase seems like it's kind of going in. I guess that's what phases do, though, right? Like ebbs and flows, ins and outs, ups, downs, highs, lows. It's that type of energy. So let's dig in and just see what we get. Okay, the ancestors definitely want to say something. I hope you guys are doing fantastic and that you're riding the wave of this energy. I heard someone say something about astrologically April's going to be crazy. So, and that's because we have a ton of planets aligning in Aries. Anyways, I think this, everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that, but I also believe that the things that we go through prepare us for the next phase. Right now is 4:44 on the clock, guys. And I know for me personally, and I think whenever I'm feeling something, it has to be something that is being felt by a larger group. But what I've been feeling was an initiation into really picking up on and looking at things through a different lens. It's literally like my old lens can no longer function in this new phase. And so if you've been feeling that, for sure you are in alignment, but also too, just know that you're at the right place. Okay, like you're not missing the mark. If you've been questioning or wondering, like, why do I feel like all these things are changing yet I'm not actually seeing anything change, like in my actual life, right? Like things are not actually changing, but I can sense them, I can feel them, and it feels like an internal shift more than anything else. It is because of this here, this embodiment energy. And it's really like they're saying that we are embodying our new identities in order to usher in, the age of Aquarius, where we have a focus that is no longer on ourselves. Okay. I've talked about that before, but as we continue to progress into the age of Aquarius, which I think happens in is sometime later this year. I thought I remembered the date, but I don't clearly. But anyways, as this takes place, we are going to be prepped more and more for that new, because in order for us to take on the age of Aquarius energy, we have to have a new identity. And in Aries season in particular, because it's the first house and it's the energy of the I am, so who are you? And as well as Saturn being in Aries, we are absolutely assessing our identity. And one thing that's amazing about it is that the Aquarian energy that we're moving into is going to force us to stand up and be ourselves, no matter how quirky, quacky, weird, strange, awkward, whatever words you feel like using. No matter what, you're going to kind of be pushed into seeing yourself in light of who you truly are. And with Aries and Aquarius combined, I think is fantastic, because it's going to allow us to be ourselves without regret, remorse, or fears. Okay, so as we embody our identities, I keep hearing our natural identities. So the energy that you're embodying, that you're sensing, that you're feeling within is absolutely your truest self. The interesting thing about this card is that they're showing this as like a shadow, the dark here, and it's almost like you're supposed to be in color. You're supposed to live your life in color. So imagine the colored part of the bird is the portion of the bird that has embodied their new or truest self, which is your highest self. And this black part, this darker part of the bird, is beginning to shift and transition into it. I'm not sure if you guys can see these little dots here. It's like a little blue dot. There's like a little yellow thing here, another blue dot. The red eyes, it's like you're beginning to see yourself through the lens of authenticity. The red always gives me the energy of like Leo energy, and Leo energy is about being seen and not being afraid. So it's almost like there's a shifting out of the fears that have been holding you back from being your authentic self. And I do think that this has a lot to do with self-love, self-care, self-examination, self-expression, and something to do with how you love yourself. Not loving on yourself, but how you love yourself. And that is the most authentic way, they're saying, to true embodiment. I think for a lot of you, you've maybe been working more on like self-love, trying to figure out what does that look like? How do I really pour into myself? How do I stop people pleasing, being codependent, overgiving to others? How do I learn to say no and stand on it, right? How do I learn to walk away when something is not beneficial to me? How do I embrace my truth without offending the people that I love? And I think in that, you probably have had some insight into what that looks like. However, they're showing me that they keep showing me this card here. Wow, my gosh, the card underneath here. I'm taking this. This here, this grasping, you see this grasping energy? What they keep showing me is that it's like you're seeing the ways to do this, but it's almost as if you haven't been able to wrap your hand around it and grip it. Okay, so imagine you're trying to, you have olive oil on your hand and you're trying to pick up a glass bottle. It just keeps sliding out of your hand because of the oil on your hand. That's how this embodiment has been feeling for you. Like you can feel, you can sense, you have an idea as to what you should be doing, but you haven't really been able to fully grab it. And I think for a lot of you, you've felt like there's something wrong with you because you haven't been able to grab it. Like maybe you've been questioning, like, what is wrong with me? Like, am I the problem? Am I missing something? Like, how come I can't fully receive myself? And they're saying that this is part of the reason here is because of the challenge with detachment. Now, the detachment is from a version of you that can no longer see the world through that old lens. Okay, this is how this is coming through. Imagine you have a pair of glasses on, and the glasses are for someone who has like 40/60 vision. Okay, I'm just making this up. So, because I'm not an optometrist, clearly. But say you have like 40/60 vision, right? You don't have 20/20. Bottom line, you can't see clear. And now you have a new prescription. Now you have 20/20 vision. Those glasses that are 40/60 or whatever, they no longer are gonna allow you to see. You're blurred. Your vision is blurred when you put them on. It's like putting somebody else's bifocals on, and you're like, whoa, I can't see through this lens. It's not clear. Everything is blurred for me. And the reason why is because you're in the process of detaching, and in the process of embodying this energy, you're going to have to detach in order for you to grasp. In order for you to really to wash that oil off of your hands and grab the glass, which is clarity, in order to cleanse those lenses on your glasses, in order to receive the new prescription lens that are for 20/20 vision versus 40/60, you're going to have to detach. And the detaching for some of you is from people, from places, from situations, experiences, from the old version of you, from the lies and deception that you told yourself were supposed to be. Okay, they're making this very clear. Thanks, guys. So they're saying that for some of you, there were situations in your past that you thought were supposed to be yours for the rest of your life. This could be relationships, marriages, this could be jobs, this could be your children. They're showing me that. Like some of you have children going away to college, getting married, having their own children, and you may have thought that they are going to be with you for the rest of their lives. You know what they're showing me, guys? To show me this, I have to tell you this because I think it's funny that they show me things like this. So on 90 Day Fiance, I think it's one of the series, there's a guy named Forrest and Sheena, and Forrest is an American and Sheena is from the Philippines. And At one point in time, in one episode, he's questioning whether or not he should stay in the Philippines or if he's going to go back home with his mom. And his mom has a very hard time with control, and she's very much kind of like obsessed with her son. He is on the spectrum. He's autistic, so she thinks that because of that she has to look after him, which I will tell you that Forrest is extremely wise. And to me, I don't think he's lacking anything. If he's autistic, he is extremely high on the spectrum. Like, he is absolutely able to function on his own. He's high functioning. However, he has some anxiety. And so they're showing that to say that's how you are feeling about detaching from these past experiences. Say, for example, you've been on this job for 40 years, 20 years, and you're like, there's no way I can not work here because this is all I know. I don't know anything else, so what do you want me to do, right? Say, for example, you were married for 15 years and you're like, oh my God, I have to leave this person like this, or this person left me. Like, what am I going to do, right? Like, that's all I know. And so what they're saying is that a part of you embodying this new version of you, which I do see you being a lot happier here. Now, if you compare these two birds here, I'm sorry, this one looks extremely healthy, happy, full. You see the fullness, almost like a thickness to this bird. And it's because this bird is embodying their authentic self. This bird here is like worn out, stressed, tired, exhausted, depleted. And it's because this bird is staying stuck in the valley, which is a lowly place. It's afraid to detach because it's been comfortable there. It's afraid to detach because it didn't think that life was going to be any other way. And for a lot of you, most of you, this is really just detaching from your old self. Detaching from who you used to be, the stories, the narratives, the ideologies, the thoughts, the perspectives. Detaching from, the way that you were taught, the way that you were raised, those religious beliefs, those spiritual beliefs, those beliefs that were, thrown upon you by others, the beliefs that you never actually thought about, the things that you never in a million years thought, I wonder why I think like this. Those are the things that are in this valley that need to be detached from. Because those versions of you no longer fit in this new space. Again, those glasses no longer function. And so as long as you stay attached to these things, as difficult as it is to grasp that the only way out is to receive this new and let go of the old, it's going to continue to weigh on you until you find your way out, until you receive the new. They're saying that a lot of you are unable to detach because you're refusing to receive the new. And the new, is what's best for you. It's just that it's very hard to understand why the old couldn't be what it was. And then another reason is because you're challenged by letting go of, it's almost like you feel some type of shame or regret in letting go of a version of you that you're no longer aligned with. Okay, so there's a version of you, that old version of you, it's almost like it's outdated is how they're showing it. It's almost like it's outdated, it's stale, it's molded. But you don't want to throw it away because you're not sure if you're going to be able to. Wow, that's crazy. I'm saying it's crazy because it's crazy how we do this. We're all guilty of this. This is why I'm always blown away by these readings, because I'm just like, dang, I never thought about that, guys. So they're saying that you're afraid to throw. This version of you is the old moldy bread that's left in your refrigerator. You don't want to throw it away because you're not sure if you're going to be able to get any more bread. And that has to do with the lack of trust. And it also has to do with control. It has to do with catastrophizing. It has to do with scarcity mindset, the feeling of there never being enough. If I let go of that old job, relationship, that old thought process, what's going to replace it? And how do I know that whatever is replacing it is not going to send me down that same path? So let me tell you, they're telling me to share this story with you. Let me tell you the way that I kind of have worked through some of these things myself. And I don't know that they're things that actually get 100% resolved. I think a lot of the spiritual teachings, lessons, healing gurus, etc., tend to sell a little bit of a lie. And I'll tell you why. I personally don't believe that healing just stops. I don't believe that you're just healed and then you just don't have to do anything else. I believe that you have to continue to work at, and that is by loving on yourself. Work at the things that trigger you, because in different phases of life you have different triggers. And so a part of this for me was understanding that the old perspective, the old version of myself, the person that was in the relationship with my ex is not the same person that I am now. And because I'm not the same person that I was, I'm not going to attract the same type of people. And because I'm not going to attract the same type of people, that energy of the old was only present because I was that same energy. I hope that makes sense. So let me do this. This is the old you. This is the old you. Okay? Let's move these. Set up my illustration. Okay, this is the old you. The old you was kind of stuck, stagnant, a little stubborn, comfortable in this space, but not really able to like do anything else. You could go there, you could go here, you can move over here, you can move over here, right? Like you could do a little bit, but you really didn't have to be too flexible because things were pretty like consistent. This was me in my old relationship. I was easily like, we stayed within a box. We had very consistent schedules, like did kind of the same things all the time, you know, took the kids to school, went to work, went to practice, you know, sports, stuff like that. He went to the gym. I cooked dinner. He helped clean, you know, like a very pretty structured life. So for me, this became comfortable, but also I became this comfortable, stagnant, complacent, and absolutely stuck and trapped in the idea that I needed to control everything. Okay? So my new relationship is now, this is my new relationship. We're just, you know, like there's no rhyme or reason. It's just kind of like we're just free. Both of us are just whatever. We're just, you know, hey. We don't have any like specific structures, rules, guidelines, because we can just freely just do whatever the heck we want, because neither one of us want to be bogged down to any specific one way of doing things, because we recognize that this old version of us got us into trouble. For me, that's how my team explained it to me. That old version of you was stuck, right? The new version of you is unstuck. This new version of you cannot attract this because it's not the same energy. So for me, I had a hard time detaching from the old because I was always afraid that first I was going to miss out on something, and then secondly that I didn't know how I could become comfortable in this new experience. And what I've been learning is that this new experience gets to be whatever I want it to be. See, in the process of releasing and detaching from the old, I realized that I have control and reign to create the life that I desire. And in doing so, I can be as flexible and flammable or adjustable, adaptable as I want. I could fall off the table. I can get back up. I can move. I can jump. I can scream. I can shout. Whatever I want to do. And what happens is we get so trapped over here in this because we don't recognize that we have free will to be able to move over into something else. You know, recently I was talking to my son, and my son's on his way to college. And, you know, at this point in time in one's life, it can be very challenging and scary and overwhelming. And I was trying to just encourage him by letting him know that, son, if you get to that college and it doesn't work out, you don't have to stay stuck there. Like, of course, you need to give it a shot. You need to try it out. We need to see if we can make it work for you. But there's always other options. And the fear of there not being any other options will keep you in the state of fear of being detached. The fear of detaching from those things will stay present as long as you are under the impression that you don't have any other choices or options. And also, for me, it was huge for me to understand that that old partner that I had was aligned with me because I was the same as him. In this energy, I was the same. This new me no longer aligns with that, meaning I can't attract it, it can't affect me, it can't come to me, it's gone. And I think that's something that is really, really, really hard to grasp. That's very hard to grasp, and it's hard to grasp because it's like, wait a second, but I was the same person that attracted that person. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You used to be that same person that attracted that old experience, that old encounter. You had those same fears, the same shame. You had the same trauma bonding. You had the same experiences. You didn't trust anybody. You didn't believe anything good could happen to you. You needed validation. All of that stuff used to be you, absolutely. But you're not that now. So grasp. Wash the oil off of your hands and grasp that this new you that you have embodied, that you feel the presence of the new. You feel it because look at it, it's taken over most of who you are. There's just this small portion of you that's still stuck in the old. But there's a recognition of who you are, the new version of you. You feel it. You're experiencing it. You're seeing it. But there's something embedded in this embodiment that is highly, highly, highly involved in how you really love yourself. Not loving on yourself, but how you truly love yourself. And that's the challenge that's in the way and kind of preventing you from fully desiring to detach is what I want to say. Because for someone, it's not a matter of like, can you detach? It's that you don't want to. You feel like nested in that. Again, it's going back to like the comfort. The comfort. And then this flattery card is here at the bottom of the deck. See, this gives me the idea of having like two different identities, two different versions of you. Like the version of you that wants to embody and the version of you that wants to stay stuck in the past. And there's a almost like they're saying like during this transitional phase, there's a part of this that's going to require you to make a decision. And there's no right or wrong way. You guys hear me say this all the time. There's no right or wrong way. You can choose or right or wrong path. You can choose whatever you desire. Just know that with whatever you desire, you have to be willing to adapt and adjust to that experience. telling me that there's some type of validation in that past that you feel attached to. That's the thing you don't want to detach from. It's some type of narrative though, guys, if I can be completely honest in the way that I'm seeing it. It's a narrative. And it's some type of validation in regards to you feeling like you're understood, seen, heard, like a validation of some sort. But I will tell you that it's like the energy that I'm feeling, it's not the truth. It doesn't have any weight, if I can explain it that way. So you probably have been feeling that because you probably, through some rose-colored glasses, have been telling yourself that that's making you feel that way. But the reality of it is that there's no weight there. I don't know how else to explain it. There's no weight. It's not actually the truth. Whatever you're feeling it's not true that that situation was giving it to you, like honestly. It's that you were giving it to yourself through the lies that you told yourself about that situation. I hope to God that that makes sense, guys. There's some type of deception, and it has to do with the way that you love yourself truly and authentically. Not self-care, not like taking a bath, a shower, getting your nails, hair done, going to the barbershop. It's not that. It's like the actual way that you love yourself. There's something in that was denied what you needed as a child. And whatever this previous situation is, it made you feel through the false narrative that you told yourself about that situation, job, person, people, place, thing, right? You told yourself that this situation, this person loved you, they validated you, they made you feel seen. But that person was, that job was, that boss, that family member, they were lying. There's a deception here. I'm seeing the Seven of Swords. There's a lie in it. And that lie is what you're attached to. But the lie was not necessarily told by that person, job, or whatever, that experience. It's something that you told yourself. And you told yourself this as a child, and it carried into adulthood. And it was what you needed to kind of smooth things over. So say, for example, as a child, you were never told that you were significant, that you were powerful, that you were capable of doing hard things, that you are here for a purpose, and that you're valued, you're validated. If you were never given that as a child, you meet somebody, okay? Say you meet a boss. Let's just use that as an example. You meet a boss, and your boss at work is like, oh my God, you're phenomenal, you're fantastic. And what happens is this boss tells you this, but this boss also allows you to work 14-hour days with no breaks, and they just put you to work, and they expect you to work on the weekends. And for you, they smooth you over, if that makes sense. They smooth over the rough edges, okay? Because just show me somebody sanding. It's almost like they sand you down. They build you up by telling you, oh my God, you're so awesome. You're the best employee. I can't imagine what we would do without you. But the reality of it is that person is only telling you that to get you to do what they want you to do. However, because you were not told those things as a child, you perceive this person as being someone who is actually on your side. So that inner child wound has to do with being seen, validated, and feeling loved. You know how sometimes you, especially if you're a people pleaser or challenged or used to be a people pleaser, you can run into challenges where you feel like, oh, I just needed to be needed. It's that situation. Your inner child needed to be needed because you didn't have a place as a child in the world. You didn't feel that way. You weren't given that as a child. And so this person in whatever situation, could be romantic, but we're using the employer as an example. So this employer makes you feel needed by telling you how they wouldn't make it without you, when in reality they're only doing that to use you and get you to sacrifice. But internally, you're actually suffering in that space, and you recognize that. Your soul recognizes that. Your higher self recognizes that. And that's why you're in this valley on your way out. But on the way out, it's almost like you stop and you look back. Like this is you as you're transitioning. You look back, and you look back with sorrow and sadness and grief. And it's almost like there's a version of you that's crying out in that valley saying, please don't make me have to go and leave you behind. When the reality of it is you recognize wholeheartedly that you're much better off without that experience. You also recognize how much healthier you are as a whole, mind, body, soul, and spirit, without that situation. And so as you reflect and you continue to process the, the exodus of this experience, you're being asked to see the whole of the experience. And it's because this new version of you that you've transformed into needs to be able to understand the whys and the specifics of that past attachment so that you no longer have that energy in you. It's literally like a complete purging. That's why they were showing me the cleansing energy earlier. When I was saying like the Queen of Cups and the Empress, they were showing me like water just being poured on someone underneath. Like imagine standing underneath a waterfall, and the waterfall is just pouring the water on you. And this is what this is this is a purification. This is a complete cleansing and washing away of those stains that have been left from the past. And I'm hearing no stone unturned. Wow, this is so powerful. They're saying that the reason why there will be no stone left unturned is because in order for you to really walk in complete embodiment and authenticity, you have to turn over every stone of everything that has affected you. And it's because they want to expose everything. They're showing me that root analogy that they often bring up during our readings. They're saying if you don't pull that root completely out and untangle all of the soil that's entrapped in it, you're going to find yourself attached to things moving forward that you thought you had removed and cleansed. And it's almost like they're saying that they're gifting you a second chance at life. And in this second chance at life, in this new opportunity, in this new experience, they want you to walk in freedom. Wow. Oh my God. This is so amazing. They don't want you to feel the weight of the past. Now they're showing me Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You guys know they were the three that were placed in the fiery furnace. And when they came out, no one knew that they had been in this fiery furnace because it didn't smell like anything. So it's almost like there's a complete purging and a cleansing of everything that you went through in the past so that you can walk in this new experience without the weight. My God, that is amazing, guys. Woo! Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, look at this medicine. This is healing. This is complete healing. And when I say complete healing, it's like even this new version of you that is triggered, because you will have triggers. That new version of you that's triggered, it's not going to affect you in the way that it would when you were this version. Because your experience, your lens, your glasses, the way that you see the world is shifting into something completely different. There's a balance that is going to be sustained and maintained in this new version of you that allows you to not react so abruptly to things that are not necessarily aligned with with you and where you're going and who you are. Like there's a recognition that you have something to do, that you have a purpose. There's a version of you that completely sees yourself, and that is coming by means of you, again, really loving on yourself, recognizing that valley was actually like the place that produced the lilies. You know, the lily of the valleys is like within that valley of darkness, you were able to grow and develop into this beautiful lily that continues to flourish and thrive, and that can brighten anyone's day. You know, it's like a complete transition of your old energy into the new. So this is Mercury in Aries. So this is about communication, and this has to do with with communication being the means to your healing. Okay, Mercury energy is, again, the energy of communication is typically like Gemini, and then also seen by a lot as Virgo energy. So it's like the practical ways that you choose to communicate to yourself and with yourself are becoming more aligned with the identity of you being like the main character, like you being the focus of your life. There's this armor of protection. You see this helmet on his head? There's an armor of protection that is almost being gifted to you. And I'm seeing like angelic support, but also there's some type of like covering that is being placed over you by your spirit team and ancestors to support you on the path, so that you don't ever again lose sight of who you are. Because in this valley, a lot of you detached from yourselves. Not detached. A lot of you, yeah, you detached. Okay, I see what you're saying. They're saying, no, that was right. You detached from yourselves and you took on the identity of what you thought the people that you were dealing with wanted. And so that's why this embodiment energy here is so huge, because you've now reestablished your own identity and now it's protected. There's no way that someone else is going to come in and remove your armor, because it's something that is like higher than you. You have guides and ancestors, spirit, who has given you this armor, this protection. It's a spiritual protection that you have now that you didn't have before. Now, you didn't have it before. You had it before, not in the same way. Before, you gave your power away. Now in this new embodiment energy, you're not giving your power away. And it's because you're overturning all these stones to the point to where you see yourself as powerful. Like I said, it's a balanced energy that is coming through in this new version of you. I'm blown away. We're like 42 minutes. Oh my God, I need to stop. Okay, so then next you have the moon in Pisces. Wow. So the moon in Pisces energy, guys, is all about like self-sacrificing, right? So Pisces is a sign of like the martyrs. And so what's coming through here is that a lot of you were sacrificing yourselves for something that you thought was loyal to you, only to find out that that thing was actually not, right? It's like you thought that these roots were deeply embedded. You thought that situation and you were solid, right? Like maybe that boss in that experience that we've been talking about, met someone else, brought them in and started encouraging, motivating and sweet talking the other person, and then they completely did away with you. And you lost your long shifts, you lost your money, took a pay cut, etc. And it's because those roots were weak. The connection that you had with those past energies, they weren't strong enough to maintain the new you. The new you would have had to stay small, because if you notice this too, there's a huge difference in the size of these birds. Even if this bird was smaller, it would still be bigger than this one. Like if they had the valley there, it would still be bigger than the one that's in the valley of detachment. So you were too small, playing too small in the past, and that energy was literally like, they're showing me like an energy of someone just sweet talking you. Like, look at this bird feeding this ear this diamond. It's like, I'm just giving you what you want to hear for the benefit of me. And if you notice here, this kid in this picture is even almost smaller than the dog. So this is you, and you're shrinking yourself down so that you can be at the same level of this energy of this dog, only to realize that, oh my gosh, I'm too big for this. I need to expand and grow. However, a part of that is embracing the fact that I'm probably too attached to something because I feel comfortable with it, when really there aren't any deep roots here. This is all surface level. This is all gossip or just chitter chatter. It's mundane conversations. It feels very much like the energy of something that you're doing just to be doing because you're used to doing it, and because you probably feel some type of empathy towards that situation or that person. Oh, they don't really mean it, and that's because they had been validating you, pseudo validating you is what I should say, right? They had been pseudo validating you because you weren't able to validate yourself. They were giving you what that inner child desired, but it was false. It was false. It was a pseudo. Okay, like it was an equate brand, an off-brand love, an off-brand compassion, an off-brand, like TLC. Okay, so then look, more Pisces energy. Oh my gosh, this is Mars in Pisces. And this is so crazy because typically I would read this as like escapism, but no, it's like it's like you had a come to Jesus moment and decided that you were going to escape. You're like, I'm going to take action to get the heck out of here. And the reason why is because there's a recognition that this is best for your spirit. Your soul is craving and desiring and asking. And for a lot of you, I think you've already moved on out of this. But I think you've just had some challenges with completely detaching from it due to some type of validating feelings that you were getting from that situation, as well as an identity, almost like an identity challenge, because you felt like that was your identity. You became that old identity here, not realizing that this was an energy that was not going to allow you to do much, that you were going to become stagnant, small, and comfortable in something that really was uncomfortable. So I think you got the heck out of it for peace of mind, and now you're on your spiritual path to finding your truest self. And on this new path, as you escaped the old, just know that there's a ton of other energies that are going to come in and support you. This is spiritual support, but also in your actual life, you're going to have experiences with others to where you feel supported, validated, and that's going to come from you first attending to yourself. So let's get some advice, okay? Let's get some advice. Okay, let's get some advice. Wow, guys, this is a beautiful reading. Good job, whatever you've been doing. The grasping is here, okay? You're in the process of grasping. I think it's like these are like final little nuggets that needed to be accepted and embraced in order for you to completely grasp and move forward. And then look, there's more Pisces energy here at the bottom of the deck with the moon. Connect with your guides. Instead of escaping and avoiding the conversation of detaching, you're being advised to connect with your guides and ask for help. For some of you, it's easier for you to just walk away, okay, to just not even deal with it. But they're saying that that's how you transcend this energy. That's how you expand. With the Sagittarian energy here, with Temperance, I seek, dare to be free. This is about allowing yourself to be optimistic, but also utilizing wisdom in regards to to how you can expand your mind. Because remember, they started the reading off by saying that there's something about the way that you love on yourself, that you love yourself, not on yourself, right? So there's something coming through here about expanding your perspective in regards to what loving on yourself looks like. Because maybe loving on yourself isn't what you thought. Maybe this version of you saw loving on yourself as one way, but there's a completely different way that this version of you is recognizing that loving on yourself looks like. And it's almost like you're going to have to imagine. You're going to have to imagine, and that's that's Pisces energy too. You're going to have to imagine something that you've never seen before. Okay, you know how Noah he didn't have to, but Noah built the ark before he even knew what rain was? That's this for you guys. As you turn over all the stones, as you turn over all of the experiences of the past, in order to allow yourself to truly love all versions of you and embrace that the old is gone, the new is here. I need to see the new through a new lens, through this lens. I can't even think that I have the right thoughts. I can't, it's like you literally have to release those thoughts altogether. It's almost like Spirit is saying, like your ancestors, like, just throw that out the door. Okay, just throw it out the door, throw it out the window, because the things that you desire are coming in, but that old version of you is not allowing you to see that these things are not those old things. And for some of you, you're not even in anything new, but you're so stuck in the thoughts of the past that you won't even allow yourself to consider something new. And they're saying that's not going to work, because the magic is in the ability to be able to, this says imaginative too. The Andromeda energy is high vibration. This card really just represents operating from your highest self. Okay, so when you are in the middle of something and you feel triggered, allow yourself to stop for a second and pause. You see this balance energy here? We were talking about that earlier. Balanced yin and yang, okay? Allow yourself to stop and pause. This is something that my team showed me too recently, was that when you are this new version of you, when you start a project, you are not going to operate in this project the same that you did in another project. Right? So for example, okay, so I used to work like I don't even know what it was called. But anyways, basically it was like a mini project manager, an analyst. I'm like, what was that? It was so long ago. But I used to work as an analyst, and it was like basically a mini project manager. Every project was completely different. The only thing that was consistent was that I had a map on how to get from beginning to end. We do like an initial, we would start something, we would test, and then we would do a dry run, and then we would do a go live, right? So that type of thing. They're saying here that and this is how they show me, every project you started, you had a different set of everything. The only thing that was the same was your blueprint. So you can establish a blueprint. Your blueprint has to be balanced and kind of set in the fact that you're going to use courage to look at things through a different lens, and you're going to be determined to complete this through this new lens based on the clarity that you receive when you see this project as a new experience, okay? So 3 of Pentacles, Strength, the Chariot, and the Sun, they're putting all that together. They're saying that that's alchemy. Wow, you have the Temperance card, Justice, and then guys, look at this, right in the middle, the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups. You notice the 5 of Wands at the bottom of the deck, and that's because that's what you're doing away with. What happens is whenever you're triggered in this new experience, that old version still wants to show up. And the problem is that you're in a different project. None of the experiences are going to be the same. because this is a completely different project. And when you start a project, imagine you starting a project at work and they bring in 3 coworkers to work with you on this project. You finish that out, you start another project, and they bring in 3 different coworkers. Imagine if everybody in that group came in with, oh my God, I didn't get along with the people who were in the last project with me, so I'm sure we're not going to get along. And they just were ready to go to war. Completely, just chaotic, drama, not wanting to collaborate. You are going to be like, what is wrong? I wasn't even in that last group. So it's the same thing here in your new experiences at work and relationships. There's a need to release and detach from the old way of seeing things because it was imbalanced, because you were dealing with people that were imbalanced. That boss that we keep talking about, that boss is imbalanced. That boss is a manipulator, probably even close to being a narcissist, or at least has a ton of those traits, right? But you're not even aligned with that anymore. You're not even calling that in. That's not even you. What you are is one who's willing. You're a participant, and so is your new boss. Okay, if we go along with that same story, your new boss is willing, more than able and capable of supporting you and not misusing you, not abusing you. You have courage. This new version of you has courage and strength, and you have a grace, a peace about you. You also are determined. You see things from a different perspective with the Chariot here. You're able to see things from a vision that's higher than where you were before, because you're no longer small. Like, you're not the little whatever is usually here, the horses pulling the cart. You're actually driving the cart now. Right? So you're not confused. Before, you were the little horses in the front. You were just going wherever you were told. They were hitting the person in the other situation was hitting on the sides, and you were just going. You're not them anymore. Now, with the Sun, you're the main character. You're the prize. Your inner child is awakened and alert. You're aware of your inner child wounds, your struggles. You're aware that you need to be validated, that you used to need to be validated. You used to need to be seen. You're aware that you absolutely have fallen short in certain areas. This is the grasping, guys. It's the understanding of, I detached from that because I was that. Now I'm embodying my authenticity because I'm her. I'm him. I'm over here. This is the definition of alchemy. It's the definition of alchemy. It's taking your nothing experiences, and I'm not saying nothing as in they were nothing, but it's like in the kitchen. I always think of alchemy as taking whatever groceries or food or ingredients you have in the kitchen and making this meal, and you're like, oh my God, this is actually good, right? I didn't know if I put peas and rice together that this would actually turn out good. That's what you've done. You've taken lemon and turned it into lemonade. And this lemonade not only is refreshing, but it's sweet and it's savory and it's enjoyable. That's this embodiment. And it's because you have learned how to actually love you and not just love on you, guys. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. I hope to God that this made sense. I hope that this blesses you like it's just blessed me. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I just love our guides. Our ancestors are amazing. Just keep doing what you're doing, guys. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. Recognize that the past was the past for a reason. It led you to this beautiful experience to be who you are today. And so no regrets, no shame, no guilt, no condemnation, no beating yourselves up, nothing but gratitude really is what's coming through. Gratitude for the experiences of the past, because you recognize that they allowed you, they afforded you the opportunities that you have today. And in these new experiences, they will not repeat me. Your ancestors keep saying that they will not be the same as these experiences. And it's because this is you now. Strong, powerful, capable. And it's all because of how much you love yourself. not on yourself, but how much you love yourself. It's all from within. The well springs up from within, guys. Woo! I'm going to play the sound bowl. If you have headphones in, I suggest turning them down. But let's just cleanse this energy out. Let's receive it. And let's walk in the beauty of the abundance that you are. Have a great night. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Don't forget to like, drop your comments below. I love hearing from you guys. I'm so thankful for you guys. You guys have no idea how honored and what a blessing it is for me to be able to do this. I love this. I love you guys. I'm humbled, grateful, and honored forever. Have an amazing night. Sound bowls going.